What's up, my comic comrades, and happy Disney Plus Day. That is right, today is the official launch of the Disney Plus streaming service, and it was so popular and anticipated this morning that their servers got all jacked up and it was hard to watch anything. But we were able to get on long enough to watch the first episode of The Mandalorian, so I'm here to give you my spoiler-free thoughts. So again, this review is going to be very surface level, and then on next Monday's podcast, we're going to dive in and talk about all the spoiler stuff because there's lots of stuff to get into with spoilers, but Monday. First up, initial thoughts of this pilot episode. I really enjoyed it. I love how it's giving vibes of the original Star Wars trilogy. That mixed with the Western feel this show is giving off, oh man, Mama Pajama. If that stays true for the entirety of the series, we are in for a treat, my friends. Because the Mandalorian is straight up a gun-slinging badass. I mean, he's in there with his pistol on his side. He's got that grappling hook on his arm, and just so cool. It's a space Western, and it's awesome. And something I thought was really cool is although we have Pedro Pascal playing the character, we never see his face. And that's not a thing that really happens much anymore, especially when you get actors that are pretty well known, like Will Smith in Suicide Squad. He had probably his Deadshot mask on for like, what, 5 minutes out of the entire movie? But this wasn't the case. We didn't see Pedro's face once in the entire first episode. And I thought, that was really cool that he and all the creatives involved were willing to, like, we don't have to give him FaceTime, they're just gonna like the character because you're gonna like the character. And it worked great. And again, that just works so well with the character because Mandalorians, you're not really supposed to see their face. The episode also does a great job of establishing the world now. This series takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And we may or may not get a glimpse in this pilot episode of what the Mandalorians are doing and where they're located. I'm sure they're gonna explore that more in the future, and I could not be more excited. I also really dug how they're establishing the guild for the Mandalorians, with Greef Karga, aka Carl Weathers, playing the guy who basically gives out the bounties to the Mandalorians. He wasn't in the first episode very long, but man, do I hope we see him more often in the series because, quite frankly, I'm a big fan of Carl Weathers. And then we have Werner Herzog, who plays the client. He's the guy narrating the trailers. And let me just say, this guy is freaking awesome. Again, he wasn't in the episode that long. He's probably only in it for like 5 minutes, but his scene was ridiculous and is very important for the entirety of the series, as we learned towards the end of the episode. Oh, and this is like my second or third favorite thing about the entire first show, and I hope stays true for the rest of the series, the score. I love the score for this episode so much. It is the perfect mixture of Western with like sci-fi. So good. And of course, this is a Star Wars show, so there is plenty of action. The episode literally opens up with a fight scene. Then we also see him fighting like some kind of space walrus and so on and so forth. It's very good. There's even a bunch of callbacks and Easter eggs for the Star Wars franchise in general. As for the overall look of the show, it quite literally looks like a movie. I mean, there's a reason why each episode costs $20 million to make, and that's because it looks fantastic. It's some of the best production value I've seen in a TV show. With that said, it does stay very true to vintage Star Wars, so there is lots of stuff in it where you see like puppets and animatronics, and it looks kind of cheesy, but it works because that's Star Wars. With that said, I'm going to wrap that up right here though, because I don't want to get too deep into this and give spoilers, because we're saving that for Monday's podcast. I just wanted to jump on and give you guys my initial thoughts and let you know if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, an OG Star Wars fan, you need to check out this series. To further the point, if you know who Dave Filoni is, he directed the first episode. So there's some OG Star Wars fans working on this series. So it's a must-watch, in my opinion. I'm very curious to see how this Mandalorian series continues to separate itself from the recent Disney Star Wars movies we've gotten in recent years. Also, I want to know what his name is, because there's no way his name's just going to be the Mandalorian for the entirety of the series. My guess is it's going to be a pretty big reveal when it happens. But that's just my 2 cents. If you want the spoiler talk, that's going to be on our podcast next Monday. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.